Good afternoon. Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Knoxville, Knox County Planning Commission. My name is John Huber. I am the chairman of the Planning Commission. I will be conducting today's meeting. Assisting me today on my right is Executive Director of Knoxville, Knox County Planning, Amy Brooks, and the Planning Commission Attorney, Tasha Blakeney, on my left. I would like to call this meeting to order. Mr. DeArmond, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hill is excused. Commissioner Browning?
Here.
Commissioner Levinson? Commissioner Boyer?
Here.
Commissioner Barger?
Here.
Commissioner Overton? Commissioner Perez is excused. Commissioner Anderson? Here. Commissioner Butler?
Here.
Commissioner Biggs? Here. Commissioner Daly? Here. Commissioner Gill?
Here.
Commissioner Midas? Commissioner Adams?
Here.
Commissioner Huber?
Here.
That's 13 present, sir.
Thank you. Participating in the meeting today with me are planning commissioners who have been appointed by the mayor of the city of Knoxville or the mayor of Knox County. We receive no salary and volunteer our time as a service to our community. We will be supported by our professionally trained staff, representatives from the city and county engineering permitting and permitting departments, as well as other agencies. Now a word about how discussion will take place. I hope you've all had an opportunity to review today's agenda package on planning's website at knoxplanning.org. In addition to today's agenda, the website contains information on how today's meeting will be conducted, as well as correspondence on individual cases. I will call each item on the agenda and read our staff's recommendation for that item. Once an item is called, the applicant or those in support of the application will be allowed to speak first. They will have a combined 5 minutes to speak on the matter. The applicant may defer their right to speak to the opposition if they so choose. Likewise, anyone opposed to the application will have a combined 5 minutes to speak on the matter. If either the applicant or the opposition wishes to have an opportunity for rebuttal, they will need to reserve any remaining time from the original 5 minutes allotted. Because of the number of items we have on our agenda today, groups in favor of or opposed to an item are asked to appoint a spokesperson to represent them. All speakers for or against should limit their remarks to the facts of the case and should avoid repeating information that has already been presented to the Planning Commission by previous speakers. The Planning Commission may grant additional time for presentation of information if needed. If you have any items that you'd like to make a part of the record, please submit those documents to knoxplanning.org/share or hand them to one of our staff members located on your left and my right. Please identify the file number and meeting date in your submittal. Many of the items we will vote on today will require further action by either Knoxville City Council or Knox County Commission. For matters that are forwarded to City Council for final action, the applicant or their representative should be present at the meeting at which the request will be considered. For matters forwarded to Knox County Commission for final action, the applicant or their representative must be at the meeting where the request will be considered. If an applicant does not attend the meeting, the case will be, at a minimum, postponed and potentially could be denied. All applicants will be notified of the city and county meeting dates. If you have any questions regarding the meeting date or the process, please contact one of our planning staff. Today's meeting will be conducted in the order of the agenda. First, I guess I'd like to just take a moment to send our thoughts and prayers out to, as this is 9/11, for our country and the thoughts of where we are, and always remember where we are on that. We also had another tragedy in Utah yesterday, which is very, very sad, and for us to keep healing and moving as a nation. Please stand as you are able as Vice Chair Levinson leads us in an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. All right. Next on the agenda are the postponement and withdrawal lists. I will read these lists separately. Item number 19, automatic postponement, Stephen W. Abbott, Jr. Item number 34, Mainland MCA, Knoxville. Automatic withdrawals. Item number 23, replat of Lot 2R2 of the final plat of Lots 2R and 2 of the John H. Patty Tract 1 subdivision. And this is a postponement. So we motion it from there, right? Chair will entertain a motion for the automatic We don't do that? We're just moving on. Very good. All right, so we're moving on to the items to be postponed. Item number 5, final plat of Isabel Estates Phase 2 for 30 days. Item number 33, 0 Locust Hill Lane for 30 days. Are there any other requests for a 30-day postponement on any items? Sir, if you could approach the podium and state your name and address, please.
Well, actually, it's number 16. The Step Toward Home program, who's developing this, is a just out of jail rehabilitation program. We already have 7, I think.
So you're asking it to be pulled from the consent list?
Yes.
Okay, and that is item number 16. We will pull that from the consent list and read it at its time.
Okay.
And you can talk at that time when,
Okay, sorry.
that's okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so Chair will entertain a motion to, for the 30-day postponement list.
Second. All right, I apologize. Scott Davis, P.O. Box 11315. For Isabel Estates, I may be a little bit confused. Number 5, I don't know what,
Isabel Estates. Yes, it's on the agenda as being postponed for 30 days.
so I can't, Amy, I may need to get corrected here, but, because I think we have the MOU in place that will be heard at County Commission coming up. And was there a question on whether we could have it approved contingent upon the MOU, the memorandum of understanding approved by County Commission, and that would expedite the process and at least save us 30 days. We've only been at this for 19 months. Without objection, I would like to see that it not be postponed.
Yeah, to Mr. Davis's point, the construction contract for the turn lane that is for the development is on the County Commission agenda for approval. It will be approved by County Commission later this month on September the 22nd. And then we'll obviously issue a notice to proceed pretty much, hopefully, maybe that week or the following week.
So the request, well, we can discuss it when it comes up, but I would ask that it be taken off the postponement list. Can I do that?
Yes, we can remove number 5, final plat of Isabel Estates, from the 30-day postponement list.
Great, thank you.
We had a first.
I think they passed up the withdrawal.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's David Presley, 705 Gate Lane, Knoxville. I'm just looking to withdraw. And,
Okay, yeah, we'll get to the withdrawal list in
Okay,
just a
I'm
minute.
sorry. I thought you-
Thank you. Okay, so can we get Chair will entertain a new motion without number 5, only item number 33, 0 Locust Hill Lane for a 30-day postponement. Got a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, we'll move on to the 60-day postponements. This is item number 20, Yassine Theroux, American Dream Development. Are there any other requests for 60-day postponements from the gallery? Nope. Seeing none, just Chair will entertain a motion on the 60-day postponement. Okay, we have a motion by Vice Chair Levinson and seconded by Commissioner Barger. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. We do not have any 90-day postponements. Now we are on to the withdrawal list. I believe there was an audience member that wanted to withdraw an item. Here we go. State your name and address for the record, please.
David Presley, 705 Gate Lane, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37919.
Yes, sir. And you wanted to withdraw?
Yeah, I want to withdraw 4831 Tillery Lane.
Is that item number 25? Is that right? Okay, very good.
All right,
Item
thank
number
you.
25 will be withdrawn. Thank you. Can we get a motion to withdraw item number 25? Okay, we have a motion and a second to withdraw. Commissioner Levinson, Commissioner Barger, on removing item number 12. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes have it. Next, we have tablings. Item number 8, Matthew L. Tinkham Jr. Are there any other items to be tabled? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion on table. Vice Chair Levinson and Commissioner Barger. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Now we have one item to be removed from the table. It's item number 1, Andrew Thomas. Are there any other items to be requested to be removed from the table? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion. We have a first and a second, Commissioner Levinson and Commissioner Barger. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes have it. All right, we will move on to our consent list. Are there any recusals? Okay, Commissioner Overton is going to recuse on item number 30 for the record. Also, are there is there anybody here on item number 10? The applicant is Robert Campbell for 7335 Green Estates Way. Is there any opposition to that file? Anyone wanting to speak on it? Seeing none, I'm inclined to go ahead and add number 10 to the consent list, which we will add as we read it. And also, there's the other one? Is it number 22? Where is that one? Also, is there any opposition to item number 22, David O'Brien on Barcelona Drive? Any comments, thoughts? Okay. We will add item number 22 to the consent list as well. So we're going to say number 10, yeah, and then 22. Okay, I might need the names of them. Okay, so we are untabled. Okay, the consent list. Item number 2, approval of September 11th, 2025 agenda. Item number 3, approved August 14th, 2025 minutes. Item number 7, final plat of lots 20 through 26 of the Highlands at Ebenezer. Item number 9, Jeffrey Lawson. Item number 10, Robert Campbell. Item number 11, Daniel P. Humphreys. I apologize. Humphreys. Item number 12, Shannon Schneider. Item number 13, Nathaniel Parsons. Item number 14, Noah Hudson. Item number 17, Bradley Akers. Item number 18, Jack Roberts Holding Company, LLC. Item number 21, Marble City Investments. Item number 22, David O'Brien. Item number 26, and forgive me, Mohammed Rakhgab. Item number 26, thank you. Item number 27, Jesse Alarcon. Item number 28, James Ackerson. Item number 29, Benjamin C. Mullins. Item number 30, JMJ Leasing, Knoxville LLC. Item number 31, John L. Billings. Item number 35, Charles Pilgrim. Item number 36, Sid Spiva. Item number 37, Knoxville, Knox County Planning. Motion will entertain, or pardon me, Chair will entertain a motion. Yes. Just as a reminder, there will be no further discussion on any of the items on the consent list, including the ones that were added to the consent list. And Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent list. Hang on.
So someone signed up to speak, so we just need to verify that number 26, which is.
26 is one. Oh, okay.
Just making sure.
Okay, we did have somebody signed up to speak on item number 26 in the name, Owen Gwynn. Owen Gwynn, are you present? Would you like to, would you like us to remove that from the consent list so it can be heard?
I want to be heard for every turn.
Okay, well, we need to remove that one then. Okay, we're going to remove item number 26 now from the consent list. So, well, it'll be read at its regular time. You'll have an opportunity to speak when it comes on the agenda.
You've removed 16. We removed it.
I was advised to ask. Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir, we got you removed as well.
Sorry for jumping the gun, but I've
No.
never done this before.
That's quite all right. You're doing just fine. Okay, so we now have a consent list
Adding 10 and 22.
adding number 10 and number 22 and withdrawing 16 and 26 to be heard at their regular time. Okay. All right, now I think we got it. All right, so Chair will entertain a motion on the new consent list. Have a first from Commissioner Barger, second from Commissioner Levinson. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, no, the ayes have it. Thank you. Right, so now we're going to talk about item number 5, the final plat. Give us a minute here as we retool up here.
Or another, how's that? You know, she's gonna run for mayor.
But I'm fine. She can, it's very specific.
Right. Again, apologies for, we're just having to look around up here. I think we do have some information on it, and then she's trying to look it up right now with respect to that. Amy, if you want to speak to it, yeah.
or maybe Mr.
Okay. Mr. Davis, state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Scott Davis, P.O. Box 11315, Knoxville 37939.
If you could, yeah, just tell us exactly why,
Yes, sir.
What
this
your
was a-
request is.
This was a subdivision that we developed, got approved, I don't know, several years ago before the MOU process with the county, which is the Memorandum of Understanding for Improvements Offsite as a condition to a plat approval. And so we are only allowed to have up to X number of lots platted until and unless the MOU was approved by County Commission and Engineering and Public Works. We're asking that the plat be approved contingent upon and again, this is what, 18, 19 months into this? The lots are on the ground, asphalt's down, we can't plat them until the MOU is approved by County Commission. That is on County Commission agenda for next week, I think, the 22nd. And so I'm asking if the plat can be approved contingent upon County Commission approving the memorandum of understanding for the improvements to Emery Road, of which County Engineering has signed off on and approved, the mayor has signed off and approved. So we've gone through all the steps necessary to be able to record the plat, except for County Commission approving the MOU. So I'm asking if this body can approve the plat conditioned upon County Commission approving the MOU next Monday. If they don't, we can't record the plat.
understood, yeah, I think Ms. Brooks has found some information
I
on
think
it.
the challenge is, for planning commission action for a final plat, you can either approve or deny it. You can't approve it with conditions. So that's up to this body, whether or not you want to approve it, deny it, or the applicant can request postponement.
So that's a little different than a zoning request, where you can, in the county, condition a zoning request, but you're, just to be clear, the way I understand it, the rule states, can you read that?
Let's see, hold on, I just, my glasses on, sorry. Here we go. During the public hearing, the planning commission will review all recommendations and information presented and consider approval or denial of the final plat.
Now, I'm not a lawyer, but it doesn't say it cannot be approved conditionally. Everything we do here, we approve conditional upon X, Y, Z. And help me understand why this can't be approved conditioned upon X, Y, Z.
If I may quote an additional section, this is 2.10.C.1.G pertaining to incomplete final plats. It says incomplete final plats must be completed, and it kind of talks about what that certifications, verifications, that sort of thing, with the exception of maintenance agreements, and shall comply with section 3.03G. Planning staff cannot recommend approval of any plat remaining incomplete after this deadline. So I'm thinking that because we don't have that MOU, the plat would be considered incomplete, and that's why we wouldn't be able to condition it, like those two things together. So I think I'll kick it back over to my colleagues.
Yeah, it sounds like you checked all the boxes, but they've run into a little, just kind of that legal hiccup at this point, to be able to move forward.
So these are the things, the hurdles we come across periodically that this body has the ability to correct. We have to now wait another 30 days on something that nobody objects to. We've checked all the boxes. Everything's approved by the mayor, everything's approved by engineering, just because we haven't. So everything else we do, we can do it conditional. The rules can be changed and/or amended to allow for a plat to be approved with conditions. I don't know why it could not be, if everything else we do can be approved with conditions.
Yeah, and we're just going by the wording, I mean.
Then the wording needs to be corrected or changed or amended.
Well, and I agree with that, because I think there are a lot of little things that we need to get through here that need to be done. I don't know that they can be done at this meeting.
I know, we talk about it all the time, but they're not changed.
Right.
And that's a simple change and a correction that nobody is objecting to.
Right.
I'm not asking you to do it today, but that's something that can be corrected very easily.
Yeah, we can take a look at that.
So we don't have to deal with this going forward again. And so I would respectfully request a postponement So I get to wait another 30 days, get to pay that much more interest after now 20 months. A request a postponement to the next meeting regarding this item. Thank you.
Is there, I mean, we have a couple comments too before we get to that. Commissioner Adams.
I just wanted to say, we don't have a case file. We would typically see a
Right,
full
for
staff
the-
case file with recommendations and details of the project, so it makes it difficult for us to really talk about it today.
Very good. Commissioner Biggs.
I was just going to ask for my edification. If we were to approve and it was to, then the MOU was denied, like what would happen at that point? Would the project be sort of in like limbo, or would our approval be negated at that point automatically?
I think it probably would be, but for the time being.
Since I'm not aware of a time when we've done that, we'd have to look into that and find out what would be the next steps.
I appreciate y'all's time and service. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Sir?
Mr. Davis, Commissioner Levinson.
Sir, would you like this to be put back on postponement for a month?
Yes, sir. I respectfully request postpone until the next meeting, whatever that is. Thank you,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Motion will entertain a motion, or pardon me, Chair will entertain a motion for postponement for 30 days. Okay, Karen Adams, Commissioner Adams, and Commissioner Barger. All in favor of a 30-day postponement on item number 5, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Now we are on to item number 6, a re-subdivision of lot, is the final plat as well, re-subdivision of lot 85R1 of Cantrell Heights subdivision, Phase 2. Number of lots is 2. There are 2 motions of variance and the final plat. The variance, staff's recommendation is to approve the variance to allow the stub road, Ivan Scott Drive, to serve 2 lots without a cul-de-sac based on the following evidences of hardship. There are 3. Can engineering speak to the variance request and the reasoning behind it on this?
Yes, they're just asking you to subdivide one existing lot. The length of road is only, is less than 150 feet, so by fire code, they wouldn't be required to have a cul-de-sac. So we don't feel like there's endangering the public here if we approve this variance.
Very good, thank you. So that is, staff's recommendation is to approve that variance, and sounds like engineering's on board as well. Motion number 2 would be to approve the re-subdivision plat for 2 lots in the planned residential district. Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir. Robert Campbell, 7523 Taggart Lane. And we just ask that you approve per staff's recommendation.
Very good. Is there any opposition to this file? Seeing none, are there any questions from commission? Chair will entertain a motion on the variance.
To approve the variance to allow the stub road, Ivan Scott Drive, to serve 2 lots without cul-de-sac based on the evidence of hardship.
Okay, we've got Commissioner Barger and Commissioner Anderson on the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. We'll consider a motion on the final plat.
Oh, I make a motion to. Where's the wording? Make a motion to approve the final plat of Cantrell Heights subdivision, Phase 2.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. And the motion was with Barger and Anderson again. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right, here we go. Item number 15, Masana Investments. Mr. Davis again. All right. This is a subdivision report concept development plan. This one is interesting. We've determined it'll take 12 motions.
12?
Yeah. If it's approved, it would take 12 motions. Now, staff recommendation still is to deny, but I think it was for a very specific reason that we talked about at agenda review. There was some confusion about densities and potentially transferring of densities. Part of the property was zoned planned residential up to 4 units. Another part of the property is zoned planned residential up to 2 dwelling units an acre. It came down to 3 units, I believe. Who's the, does it matter? Okay. So it is my understanding that Mr. Davis has offered up a compromise for that. Is that correct?
Yeah, Scott Davis, P.O. Box 11315, Knoxville 37939. Y'all get to see me again. I appreciate it. Yeah, and this is probably my fault or just misunderstanding or not really understanding the density. I was always under the impression if you bought 10 acres and had 5 units per acre on that, and bought 10 acres and had 2 units per acre on that, and you combine the properties, you could merge the densities. I'm being told we cannot do that. So the piece that's zoned 2 units an acre, our concept plan has 3 units more than what the density allows. We are agreeable to withdraw those 3 units, not request approval of those 3 units would exceed the density on the 2 units per acre. So we're agreeable to that, to withdraw those 3 units on the record, so we do not exceed the density on that 6-acre piece. In addition, as concessions to the development plan, we agreed to put in a boulevard going all the way up. We agreed to sidewalks. We agreed to an amenity center. We agreed to move the amenity center at the request of staff. We have tried to meet all conditions, everything we've been asked to do. We exceeded the density on that front little piece by 3 units, and we are agreeable to withdraw those 3 units.
Very good, thank you. And just for the record, I'll go ahead and read the staff recommendation. It was to deny the development plan, concept plan, because it is not consistent with the planned residential zoning district for the subject property since it exceeds the density allowed in one of the PR zones, which I think is what you were talking about. The other motion was to deny the development plan because it is not consistent with planned residential zoning district for the subject property since it exceeds the allowable density in one of the PR zones again. So, so you've rectified that. There were some other, I guess, questions involved in that. Is there, commission have any questions or? Okay, yeah, I think there was an additional handout that came, if you all have had an opportunity to review that. I'm open to discussion if anybody has any questions.
Is the additional handout just the articulation of all the variances that are on the case file?
That's correct.
So, if I can speak to that. So it's the identification of all the variants that have been requested, as well as the alternative design standards and staff's analysis of those. And then if you all were to approve this particular request, we've identified 14 conditions of the concept plan, as well as conditions of the development plan. So that's what you have before you.
Okay.
Mr. Anderson, did you have a?
I just had a question. If a motion's made to approve the development plan, do we need to add a condition to remove the 3 lots in the PR2 zone? Because I don't think that's reflected in,
I think it would be important to put that on the record, but I was just looking through the conditions, and I believe that has been identified as well. But yes, I think it would be appropriate to have that part of the record.
Mr. Biggs.
Yeah, just had a question for staff on the condition that relates to the hillside protection plan. Could I get a little clarity on how that condition's playing out?
On the lower portion, is that what you're asking about?
Yes.
Commissioner? Yes, it's one of the conditions of approval for actually, the only condition of approval for the rezoning was that, let me find it so I can read it directly here. Actually, it's on.
It's condition number 13.
So condition of rezoning, this was planning case 8C24RZ and 8E25PA. Land disturbance within the HP Hillside Protection Area shall not exceed the recommended disturbance of the slope analysis based on the area development identified during the development plan review unless approved by the Planning Commission. And so that was 2.3 acres of that total area. And the applicant is proposing just approximate, again, he's just mentioned that he's going to be removing 3 lots of 3.6 acres.
Okay, so if we do approve with the conditions, then we would be removing the hillside protection on that portion? Is
That would be up to this body, if you would like to do that.
Okay. But we could also choose to leave it in place?
That is correct. That's the, unless approved by the Planning Commission, so it
Okay.
gives that discretion to you all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and for clarity, yeah, when it came through originally at 2 dwelling units an acre, that was a condition, but it was also conditioned that this body could look at whatever plan came through and adjust or required or not required at that time. But I think it's important to still recognize that that the hillside and ridgetop protection is still advisory in the county. This isn't in the city. It's different if it's in the city, it is a requirement, but as it's in the county, it is not required. Commissioner Gill?
Yeah, just a couple other things. So Mr. Davis mentioned that he is moving the amenities center. Is on the site plan, that's within the disturbance budget on that 2 acre, or
No,
that
sir.
6 acre?
No, so the amenity center's down the hill a little, well, it may be in the original piece, but it's down the hill, more in the flatter area on the backside of the property. So the amenity center's that little square there at the first intersection.
Right, that's what I was checking. So you had said in your talk that you had agreed to move that. I was just making sure that was reflected on the
So
site
part
plan.
of
So
it
that
is-
is where it is moving to, is on the site plan, it's
The-
going to be
The
within that.
amenity center is partially on that parcel for which they're talking about the hillside, and they asked us to move it to there, yes, sir.
They moved it to move to there.
That's
Okay.
correct, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Midas, I believe you were waiting.
I guess I'm still confused about the HRPP. So I know it was 76% over the disturbance when we reviewed this. Now, based on the changes that Mr. Davis has agreed to, where do we stand on that now? I don't know who will answer that, or.
I don't know that we know. We don't specifically know that for that lower portion. Nothing has changed on nothing. I mean, it potentially could change, but it's not changing the rear portion by removing those 3 lots.
So it won't change?
On the rear portion, or the portion that's zoned up to
The
4.
The 4, it's not changing, and then the 2 might change.
It might change depending on which lots they choose to remove and how that might affect their clearing and grading.
Yeah, I guess my biggest concern was the disturbance. And one thing I'll say, Mr. Davis, I really appreciate when you come before commission because you do seem very agreeable to making changes, which I appreciate. My biggest concern was just the disturbance that was going to happen on this hillside and ridgetop. Do you have any ideas on whether that will change from your original plan now that you've agreed to this variance, or are you willing to make any kind of concession on that?
But, sorry, as I understand, and I may be corrected, that the hillside slope protection only pertains to the 6 acre parcel, which is our access entrance. Is that correct?
That particular condition of approval only applies to that front portion that's zoned PR up to 2, that specific condition of approval for the rezoning.
So it's roughly a 80 acre site, I think, and we're talking about exceeding our 2.3 acres, which will now be reduced with the taking out of the 3 lots. So we're talking about a potential violation of 2 acres on an 80 acre tract of land, of which the boulevard coming in, if we take the boulevard and reduce it down to a single normal road, that would save us almost an acre of disturbance, which we would be agreeable to do to make it and shorten the boulevard length, and that would allow us to bring the houses in closer and have less disturbance. So to answer your question, yes, that could be done by reducing the width, shorten the boulevard length, allowing it to come in tighter. We would probably, we're looking at now 1 acre of disturbance on an 80-acre tract of land. If you wanted us to do that. So all we're talking about is that one little piece right there coming off of Maryville Pike and taking off the 3 houses that we already talked about, and we're talking about the disturbance in that one area. Yes, ma'am.
And you are planning on doing that? You are going to go to the 1 acre, to the 1 lane on the boulevard?
Oh, no, ma'am. They've asked us to do the boulevard all the way up through there, which when you do a boulevard, you have to disturb much more land. So we're being asked to put in the boulevard all the way up through there, which requires us to disturb more land. And we agreed to do the boulevard.
Right. Just for clarification, though, I think we might need to throw that over to engineering and let them opine on, is there a reason the boulevard is requested?
Yes, we feel as though that gives 2 accesses in, so if there's ever something, it's wide enough where traffic could use one side or the other. So from a life safety perspective, we think that boulevard is warranted here.
Oh, no, we're agreeable to the boulevard. And usually a boulevard, as you know, on an entrance goes maybe a couple hundred feet. We've been asked to extend it all the way to the next intersection, which that's a little bit unusual, is it not?
It's the fire code talks about 250 units. When you exceed that, you need 2 access points. In these instances, it's hard to get 2 access points, so we allow a boulevard to go to the first major intersection to meet that requirement. It is fairly new, though. We've asked a couple of subdivisions to do it. This is, so in the last year or so, we've been asking for that.
Commissioner Adams.
I'm still seeking some clarity on the hillside, sorry, but I think I'm reading the case file that's published online, and it says the recommended land disturbance budget is 37%, 21.37 acres of the hillside protection area, and that the proposed land disturbance in the hillside protection area exceeds that recommendation by 65%, which is 76% over the recommended disturbance area, and is not consistent. And then I think that the last part of that is about the 2 dwelling units, which we have ironed that part out. But I'm struggling with understanding how this math of the exceeding percentages matches up with what we've now changed to for the entire development.
What you were just quoting was the entire site. So we do, as you all know, we run slope analysis in these areas that have the hillsides identified on them, and we use that to guide our recommendations. Again, as Commissioner Heber mentioned, it's not a requirement in the county, but it is something that we utilize. So that is what that is referencing. But what I was pointing out earlier is that one portion that was just rezoned last year had that specific condition on it. It doesn't apply to the entire site, but we did take into consideration the disturbance for the entire site. Does that help clarify?
I think so. I just wish that this paragraph could be magically updated to reflect this edit to the density, so that it wouldn't change?
I don't think it would change substantially.
So it's still an accurate statement that the overall property is exceeding the recommended hillside protection disturbance by 76%?
Yeah, I think that's probably correct. However, again, it's not a condition.
Right,
it is a condition on the front, but it's not on the back.
Yeah, I understand it's not a condition, and I also understand that it's not a requirement, but we're in the county, so it's a recommendation. It's still concerning to me because of the degree to which it is exceeding that recommendation. And in terms of comments that came in from the public, that seemed to be an area of concern as well.
Commissioner Anderson.
So it sounds to me like the developer has addressed a lot of our concerns. I think it was funny to see that the back part of the property was zoned in 2002, just because I would have thought that, the developer could have gotten an increased density, just considering the inflation and density we seem to see. But I know we could talk a lot about, the hillside protection and disturbance, but I think that if we should try and move forward with this concept plan or not. So if, I'd be happy to start making motions, but I have to start with the variances. And I don't know that we want to go through 30 variances and then just not get to the concept plan, so.
Let me jump out and talk to engineering again real quick. So it looks like the applicant is requesting 9 variances for multiple reasons. Have you guys had an opportunity to review those and see, are you on board with the applicant's reasoning behind requesting those 9 variances?
We are, and we would say approve based upon the applicant's justification.
Very good. And then moving on to, there's also some alternative design standards in there as well. I believe there was 11 alternative design standards. Do you feel the same about those?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good. Well, Commissioner Adams, yeah, so, I'm sorry, Anderson. No confusion there, though, right? So yeah, my thought is, well, we will need to, now that we know that engineering is comfortable with all these variances, we'll need to read each individual variance, not the A, B, and C behind them, but the individual variance, and take a vote on each one. So that's what I was referring to. We'd actually have 12 total motions with respect to this, if you would like to take a shot
Sure,
at it.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the variance to reduce the broken back curve tangent from 150 feet to 126.22 feet, Road B, STA 7 plus 63.74.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Anderson and a second by Commissioner Levinson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the broken back curve tangent from 150 feet to 81 feet, Road B, STA 14 plus 92.83.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Before I ask for the vote, I apologize because I forgot. We just went right into it. Is there any opposition to this request? Okay, here we go. There we go. Great. So if you guys can come up, and this is, yeah, sorry about that. Is this the Sofields or the Ballards? Yeah. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is William Sofield. I live at 2328 Mount Olive Road. It is on the left-hand side, right at the apex of the cul-de-sac there, up right there. Can I ask you a couple of questions without impinging on the time? The Hillside Protection Act, has anybody looked at that on the northern boundary of the property? There are very steep slopes there. And what you're addressing is the Hillside Protection Act doesn't even seem to encompass even half of what I know about that property. Yes, up to a little higher up there and to the left. But all those ridges there, the brown areas are all ridges, and the green areas inside the yellow line there are all valleys. And I don't know whether anybody has considered any of the hillside protection for any of those areas. You were talking about it down there at the access road, but that's not the only place where the slope would be incredible and require that kind of evaluation.
Right. Yeah, I think in general, we only review what's it's in front of us. I mean, whatever's on the property that is.
This is on that property?
Yes, everything we've talked about today is totally inside the surveyed boundary of this property.
Okay, so the hillside protection doesn't apply anywhere else?
Well, it is a recommendation. It is not a condition.
Okay, well, I just hear it being addressed for one area, but not for anywhere else.
Yeah, it was looked at in the staff report, but it's not a condition of that staff.
Okay. I got to go quickly because you don't allow us much time here.
Correct.
Quite honestly, there are a lot of people who want to speak and very little time to address it. That's a deficiency. I'm opposed to the rezoning of this based on the density of the housing. The number I have is about 3.7 houses per acre in some parts. I realize that varies, but that's the number I get to use. That doesn't fit with the neighborhood, the society, history, feel of the neighborhood, anything like that. Most of the houses surrounding this are on single houses on multiple acres, and you want to turn it into 3.7 houses per acre. It's going to butt up right against my property and change the entire feel and nature of what this has been historically. Why not approve it for 1 house per acre or 1 house for every 2 acres, which is very consistent with the neighborhood? You, the Planning Commission, are supposed to be my protection from that. The roads and the infrastructure, I know there was a plan there to address those and add lanes and things like that, but the Maryville Pike has a blind curve heading southbound there. There's a school zone, a dog park, a lot of traffic, and that school zone is only going to be exacerbated for the traffic by the population that comes in here. And who here doesn't like sitting in a school zone for 20 minutes every morning and every afternoon? It's going to be made much worse, especially for the fact that there are no sidewalks for children to walk in and up there. There's light, noise, and habitat issues. The light pollution from Sevier Meadows 1 and the dog park are already bad enough, and there'll be so much more. And close up to my property, my property is just to the left and down from the RAE there. Next one over. And the next plot is mine as well. Anyhow, the traffic here will also impinge on the John Sevier Highway. That's one of the primary roads in and out of this area, and it's already impassable from 4:30 to 6 in the evening and pretty congested in the morning. It's already deteriorating and broken down badly. The state is not repairing it. I realize these are state roads, not local, but I have to drive on them. You also control some of the access to that. The wildlife habitat there will certainly be eliminated. That'll be driven away. Furthermore, the developer who already put in Sevier Meadows 1 is currently under citation for those 4 lots at the bottom there that are overgrown and unkempt. They were posted as of this morning that he has not maintained them. There's still construction trash sitting there from more than 2 years ago. Personally, I'm not opposed to development, all right? Even this property. However, the density and the interruption and the unnecessary disruption of my lifestyle and property value for his enrichment are what I'm opposed to. Nothing's impinging on his tranquil 6 acres in West Knoxville, but it's impinging on mine. I'm not opposed to developing it. Develop it, sell it, make money. I'm a capitalist. I want to make money too. But why does it have to be done in excess of the bounds that are already in place and the traditional feel and look of the neighborhood? Can we not reduce the density on this to not disrupt it and put what would effectively be nearly apartments in a rural area? And I've used up all the time. You should let everybody else have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Sofield. Do we want to go on to the Ballards, or does Leanne Sofield want to speak? Ms. Ballard?
I'm Mrs. Sofield.
Okay.
So, my name is Leanne Sofield, and I reside at 2328 Mount Olive Road. Our property is directly north and borders the proposed subdivision. We will share a property line. We own a little over 4 acres and have 2 lots as listed on KGIS and tax records. This property has been in my family for 4 generations. My grandfather bought it in 1943. My parents bought it from them in 1966, and when my mom died in 2013, I bought out my brothers and I bought my house and remodeled it because I want to raise my family, my kids in a rural area, not 6 feet away from my next door neighbor with people peeking in my windows or doing things like that. I've lived at this location and in this environment for 38 out of my 58 years. I chose to move back to this place. I've enjoyed it as a very rural nature. It's low density. It's even zoned RAE. If you span that out, no one else anywhere around us is zoned that. That is defined by your own variances as residential areas with low population densities. These areas are intended to be defined and protected from the encroachment of uses not performing a function necessary to the low-density residential environment. The houses on Mount Olive Road have been there for a while. They've been restricted. We want acreage. We want a rural setting. We see deer, we see fox, we see coyotes. Last year we had a black bear come through there. We have red-tailed hawks. We have wildlife that is going to be destroyed. We have information. It's a beautiful land that used to be full of fields. Now it's got issues. Part of it was developed. It was all rezoned when he bought the original part. And then now that has been changed. Hilltop protection is there for a reason. You're there to protect it. These are deep, steep slopes. He's graded some of the stuff in Sevier Meadows 1, and now things are eroding. There's trash there. There's stuff grown up this high.
Ma'am,
Neighbors are not liking that.
We're about out of time.
Okay, thank you. My bottom line is if you want to approve this, that's okay for houses. We don't need townhouses. We don't need this many houses in a small area that's always been very rural. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Sofield. So we run over the 5 minutes. Are the Ballards here? Okay, we can add, say 2 more minutes to the clock if you'd like to speak.
We'd like 5 minutes.
Well, we'll go with, how about a minute and a half? Well, we're already past the original 5 that we allotted. So if you want to come up and speak, we can let you speak.
2 seconds. I'm Tom Ballard, an old Marine.
Yes, sir.
And my family's been on this land.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ballard, will you state your address as well, please?
Pardon me?
Your address, if you wouldn't mind.
2301 and 2307 Goff Road.
Thank you, sir.
The Rudder family and the Ballard family's been on this land that adjoins this property that you're discussing for over 200 years. In all fairness to the developer and the occupants, I need to say 3 things very quickly. Number 1, we have 2 streams coming across this, will open across there, flow across this property. Number 1, there's a spring on that property that's been has supplied 3 houses in the past, fresh water, clean. Secondly, the stream that comes across, that empties across, comes all the way across our property. Okay. The property cannot be eroded with the water backed up or the spring contaminated, number 1. Number 2, we have had animals on that property. It's agricultural. We've had mules, horses, cows, hogs, goats, so forth on this property. And we plan to continue to be there, and we're going to do the same thing. Thirdly, we hunt this property. And in all fairness to the occupants and the developer, we hunt deer, turkey, bear, coyote, and so forth. So I feel that with the fact that our family has been there since Robert Rudder came out of Virginia in the 1800s, that should be considered. We are a third of a mile with a common property line. When I sit on my front porch, I'll be looking at 3- and 4-story buildings.
Thank you, Mr.
I would appreciate it if you would take that in consideration, and I'll let the young man talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. I guess we've got, he got through that 2 minutes, so we'll give you 2 minutes, and then that'll.
Well, I would like my 5 minutes, please.
Well, there was 5 minutes for a total for all.
It says on your website it's 5 minutes.
It's 5 minutes
opposition.
total for all of them added together. So you get,
If we had 400 people in here, we'd get 5 minutes.
that's
Excuse
right.
me?
That's the way the
You all
rules.
changed the rules.
No, sir.
I've
So
been here- I've been
we'll
here
give you 2
many
minutes.
times.
We give you 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, most people have said most of the things. My name's Scott Ballard, 2307 Goff Road, Knoxville 37920. This is my father. He just spoke to the family going back. We're here in opposition of this. Mr. Davis has not spoken to any of us about it at all. First we knew about it was a couple of weeks ago. We're for growth, but controlled growth, not uncontrolled growth. This is highly uncontrolled growth. Purpose, brought up earlier. What's the purpose? There's no study, there's nothing that says we need 259 units in this area. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And I don't appreciate being cut short here. I did issue written comments. I hope every one of you read these, so take that into consideration. Primary concern, highways down the road. We had a single lane underpass going to the north, just north of Mount Olive School, single lane underpass with stop signs going over Maloney Road towards Alco Highway. And then somebody mentioned earlier the traffic at John Sevier Highway. Totally inadequate infrastructure for this development. There's no archaeological history. There's highly likelihood that there is a lot of, if you look at I.C. King Park and that area in there and go back and look at some of the history. Mentioned hillside. They're going to have 30-foot cuts with construction of 30-foot fields with buildings on them, okay? That is not conducive to the surrounding agricultural rural area. It should have never been rezoned to start with, at least at the densities shown there. Let's see. The crossing, 250 acres of drainage area above the Road B crossing. That crossing needs to be designed. There's no design here in the concept, no even indication, no mention of ARAP permits, 404 permits, stream buffers. There's no stream buffers shown. There's 2 illegal crossings right now already, one across Knob Creek, one across the other drop. So that hasn't been addressed whatsoever, has not been addressed in the past. Errors and omissions is what I'm pointing at. There's a lot of things missing out of this plan that were not caught during the engineering review. Let's see, past performance, that's been brought up earlier. If you look, the little yellow area on the west side of Knob Creek is a borrow area, which I included a picture of in my written statement that I submitted. That borrow area has been there for 6 years. It's still disturbed, is in direct violation of the stormwater protection plan and the construction general permit. So, you know, what's the deal? Knox County's kind of laid down on that one. So, and the SWIP wasn't posted. I went over there to see if I could find that. It's still not posted. Of course, that I see now what's going on. It's not part of the original development. They've just gone off without permission, without coming to you guys and getting that borrow area. So with all that being said, obviously, again, upset, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes for 400 people is ridiculous. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Significant impact. Therefore, make a recommendation that this be denied. There's too many holes in it. They never reached out to the surrounding properties, and I think the previous speakers made their point as well. We do not need 259 units. We definitely don't need 133 multi-units, a bunch of low-income housing. So that's all I got. Thanks for what time you gave me.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. I guess a question for engineering. He had mentioned some creeks and things like that. Is that the applicant will be required to have applications with you guys and permits with the state? And could you talk about that?
Yes, that'll all be handled at permitting. We'll make sure he has his ARAPs. any FEMA studies done that he has to do prior to issuing a permit for the project. That's not a review we do. This is conceptual, so we don't do that review now.
Not yet, but it will be done.
It will be done at a design plan stage.
Okay, very good. And I think one thing, because we were overlapping back and forth, I mean, this property was actually, by my accounts and math, over 20 years ago is when it was actually zoned. So this isn't a zoning question about densities and things like that. It can be developed up to 4 units an acre on the back and up to 2 units an acre on the front. We've had a lot of those discussions. So this is more about the actual concept and the development plan of it. So the density's been set. It's just a question of, can all the boxes be checked and that type of thing. But thank you guys for your comments. I know you've been in the community for a long time and I have a lot of respect for that. However, this has been zoned up to 4 units an acre for 20 plus years. Commission, okay. Commissioner Midas?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. I know Commissioner Huber was saying that the hillside and ridgetop protection plan is not codified and it's not used in the county. But from what I understand is this 2 dwelling units per acre, it was rezoned by us with the condition that it adhere to the hillside and ridgetop protection plan. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And it currently is not adhering to that condition.
Yes, the condition does give you all, as planning commissioners, the discretion to take a different direction.
But the plan does not adhere to the guidelines of the hillside ridgetop protection plan.
Yes, that lower portion, yes, that's correct.
Okay, I will be voting against this.
So that's actually a question I'd like to, with the applicant, is Mr. Davis still here? I guess just want to clarify and make sure everybody's on the same page, because this is a somewhat unusual and complicated and confusing request at this stage. So there was, I believe you got emailed a new staff, we're talking about the variances and some conditions, 14 conditions to approve the concept plan, and another 3 conditions to approve the development plan. Have you reviewed those and you're comfortable with those?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've worked with the engineering staff and yes, sir.
Okay, so is it fair to say, from staff perspective, that if he meets all of those conditions, then, and has rectified the density situation and meets all 14 of the concept plan conditions and all 3 of the development plan conditions, staff could recommend approval? Is that fair to say? Yeah, so for clarification, I'm just trying to clarify because this is getting a little confusing with that. Commissioner Adams.
Yeah, along those lines, start seeking clarity. Several of the, some of the comments that were made at agenda review and then some of the things that are in the materials that were handed out when we sat down today, talk about sort of alternative methods for putting in garages in a certain way, and it just seems like they're trying to speak to ways to diminish the impact on the hillside, and I cannot determine whether those are actually part of what we'd be approving, or if those are just things that have been contributed, but they're not anything that the developer will need to adhere to.
I might just defer to some of the staff here, but the reference to using garages or basements, that is not part of the condition of approval. We did place in here under, that's the last page of the conditions of approval under development plan, implementing reforestation of graded slopes or reducing the grading shown on the plan to comply with the recommended land disturbance. So that's something that we did add to this to help try to address some of those concerns.
And that has been agreed to verbally just now.
I would defer to Mr. Davis on whether or not he agrees to that or not, because this has all been.
It's all been moving fast.
Yes.
Yes, and so I want to make sure too, because it seemed like in a dialogue that just happened that there was agreement to go with those but I want to make
Yeah,
sure that's.
And that's why I was trying to clarify and specifically asking about the conditions, that if you were comfortable with the conditions.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Right, so there you have it. Very good. All right, Commissioner Butler.
Just so I'm clear, the comment, I'm sorry if I just missed that, but the comments that are placed on our places today will not be necessarily required to be addressed. Is that correct? If we approve this today? For instance, when I look at the property from an aerial and the topography, one thing I'm very concerned about is the density and layout of the housing that is shown. It says that homes should be clustered on more level areas of the site typically, with slopes 25% greater, and ridge tops should be left undisturbed. And some of the homes in this are exceeding 40% slopes. That's very extreme. So that's still in compliance?
Amy, you can speak to that, but I think that all comes down to the hillside and ridgetop protection. Again, as mentioned before, in the city, it is codified, and it is law, if you will. In the county, it does get reviewed, but it is not enforceable. So there is recommendations for it.
So I'll just say, you all as a body have broad discretion at this point to add additional conditions, remove conditions that are here. You all can postpone this for additional consideration, and you all can deny it. You have broad, these are just our staff recommendations, and you all can move forward in a different direction or add additional ones.
Commissioner Gill.
Yeah, so part of the confusion is that an agenda review, for those of us who are bringing this up, was that there were two rationale that were given to us for why staff was recommending a denial. One of which was the PR zone that was up to 2 dwelling units anchor. Those 3 units were in excess of that, and we lacked the authority to overdo, to approve based on that. And we primarily focused on that with our comments at the agenda review, but there was a significant part of that presentation that focused on the development that was part of the larger tract of land, and how that was over the disturbance budget, and how at least from staff, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but that was another rationale for why that this concept plan and development plan was not appropriate for this piece of land. And so a lot has happened since then, and now we have a brand new set of variances and conditions that are before us. And I think that what I am struggling with is that none of these are reflected in the actual site plan that I'm looking at, and I don't necessarily know whether or not these new conditions are going to then meaningfully impact some of the concerns that we are hearing on that second rationale. I know that we have addressed the density issue, and Mr. Davis, I appreciate you being willing to drop those 3 units. It's just that this is getting very complicated in the sense that we have 14 new conditions that we're looking at to approve, and we've had them for all of an hour, and we're supposed to then sort of apply that across a larger tract of land, and whether or not that hillside protection, I've heard from several other commissioners that they're uncomfortable with it as laid out as it is. Personally, I really like to move these things along, and I hate trying to drag these things out. I think it's important that we take bold action and we do what we need to do, but I'm not sure that I am comfortable making a decision for this at this moment with a site plan that does not reflect the changes that Mr. Davis has recommended, that does not meet the hillside protection condition that is already on the smaller tract of land, and we don't have a good sense of how these new conditions are going to play on the larger tract of land. We've heard from the community that the density that's being proposed is not what they'd like, though I will say this is in suburban residential. It is in the planned growth boundary. This is not a rural area based on our maps, so 4 units per acre is allowed by right, and he should be allowed to develop that. It's going to get developed, but I think the concern is I don't know how these are going to play into what that final concept plan looks like. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I'm just not willing to make that, personally I'm not willing or ready to make that vote based on what we've heard here today, and it would be my recommendation that we postpone this until we have a better idea of what we're looking at and have an opportunity to have conversations with staff to better understand why these 3 pages of conditions and how they affect that. That's just my preference.
Thank you, Commissioner Gill. And one thing that's challenging too when we're dealing with the concept plan and development plans, even though we approve them, I'd say it's rare that they still get implemented exactly like we approve them, as long as it's a concept, in the development plan. So they do tend to tweak down the road, which I think is, I guess I'm saying that potentially about the front 6 acres, that it could be massaged, as long as it's in here as a condition that he has to meet X, Y, and Z, then staff and engineering will make sure that that happens.
I appreciate that, Chair. I think what I'm saying is that we're concerned about the larger piece of property also not meeting the disturbance budget, and I recognize that that is not a condition that is currently on it, but I suspect that there are commissioners who would prefer it to be a condition, that there are alternative designs that could perhaps allow the density that he's seeking, that also lessens the impact that this could have.
I understand. Thank you. Commissioner Anderson.
I think we're getting really bogged down, and I understand the discussion. I don't disagree with other people's opinions by any means, but I think that we still have to focus on the procedure that we should take here, which is that we have a development plan. The developer has seemingly met the requirements for the development plan. We have a set of conditions that I'm comfortable with, and I suspect other people are too. And so to go towards a postponement route or something like that just doesn't seem appropriate. This is tough, again, because we have to go through a lot of variances to get to a vote. But in agenda review, I will address this. I do agree that we didn't really get as much of a chance to discuss it as maybe we should have, because we were focused on the density issue. But that's not the applicant's fault, right? I mean, maybe we should have discussed it in greater detail, thinking that, yeah, there'll be a compromise made on the extra 0.4 units an acre. So here we are. Again, we have a plan that some people probably won't vote for, some people probably will, that we can vote for. We have a set of conditions that, at least me personally, I think are fine. And I just don't see why we don't at least just go ahead and try to vote on it all.
Yeah, with respect to that, and I apologize again, I didn't mean to jump ahead and start getting any votes and that type of thing without hearing from the opposition, but we actually do have a motion and a second on the floor that has not been voted on with respect to one of the variances. Commissioner Adams.
I wanted to explain why I do start to veer towards the postponement, as Commissioner Gill was speaking about, because when Director Brooks said, you as a body have the ability, you have a lot of freedom with this to be able to modify this, do that. I don't feel like I have enough concrete sense of this with all of the changes going on that I can do that. I don't feel like I can make thoughtful recommendations that respect what the developer can do and think about what the community is voicing, because there have been so many changes. So it's not that I'm against this or want to penalize the developer with 30 days, but I also don't want to penalize the community for not giving it a full understanding. So that's why I would veer towards
No, and
postponement.
I, like I said, I totally respect that and understand that. My point is that you don't have to vote for it then.
Yeah, I think, honestly, as I read them, the only thing that's changed on here, in my opinion, and some staff, Amy or anybody tell me if I'm incorrect, is condition number 13, where it says that we are going to impose the hillside and ridgetop on the front 6 acres. The rest of it, none of it's changed. That's really, it's all the same application, is it not? Am I incorrect in saying that?
Well, these conditions were not posted
Right.
in advance, nor were the justifications for the variances.
But material, I guess what I'm saying is materially has it changed. I think it's the same concept plan that was reviewed.
We have a motion, a second. Can we just continue?
We can. Commissioner Adams.
You're right, I can just vote against it, which I will have to do because I don't feel like I have enough concrete information. So my preference would be for a postponement, but I understand that there are motions on the floor that we need to address. But I would be willing to make a motion to postpone, although I'm not sure how that will go over. But just to clarify why I would be voting against these things, it's not because I don't think that the development, has a right to be there, or that there have been already some concessions to make this work out well. I just think there have been so many moving parts, I'm not completely comfortable.
Right, yeah, I understand. And there's a bit of a, a lot of procedural stuff we're dealing with right now. And I'm just going to suggest this, and Commissioner Anderson, if you could help. I think we just go through and if you are so inclined to make a motion to approve these variances, I don't think that's where the questions really are. I think the questions are going to be on the concept plan and the development plan. That's where the real vote's going to come in. So but we have to vote on the variances before we can even get to the concept plan and the development plan. So we do have a motion and a second on the floor for the approval of what I would call variance number 2, to reduce the broken back curb tangent that you had mentioned. So I think we need to just go ahead and take a vote on that and move forward. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. So, all right, so we've got, again, 9 of these. Commissioner Anderson.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the broken back curve tangent from 150 feet to 90.61 feet, Road C, STA 3 plus 92.71.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Anderson and a second by Commissioner Levinson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the broken back curve tangent from 150 feet to 84.4 feet, Road C, STA 6 plus 74.77.
Second. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Anderson and Commissioner Levinson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the reverse curve tangent from 50 feet to 40.46 feet, Road B, STA 13 plus 85.84.
Second. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Anderson and Levinson to approve. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the K value from 25 to 20 at STA 3 plus 66.12 and 7 plus 12.05 on Road A.
Second. Very good. You have a motion and a second by Commissioner Anderson and Commissioner Levinson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. No, those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the K value from 25 to 24.61 at STA 0 plus 55.81 on Road B.
Second. You have a motion and a second by Commissioner Anderson and Levinson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the K value from 25 to 15 at the intersection of Road B and A.
Second. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Anderson and Levinson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the minimum K value from 25 to 20 on Road C between STA 11 plus 78.36 and 12 plus 91.01.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, so now we're down onto the alternative design standards, which there are 11 of them. We've discussed it with engineering. I believe they are on board.
I'll make a motion to approve the alternative design standards based upon the justifications provided by the applicant and the recommendations of the Knox County Department of Engineering and Public Works.
Second. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Anderson and Levinson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. So now we talking about the concept plan subject to the 14 conditions that Mr. Davis has agreed to, which includes a condition that he will not exceed the hillside and ridgetop protection area or the amount of disturbance on the front 6 acres.
So I'll make a motion to approve the concept plan subject to the stated 14 conditions.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the concept plan with the 14 conditions. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. Okay, Mr. DeArmond, can we do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Browning,
Aye.
Commissioner Levinson,
Aye.
Commissioner Boyer,
Aye.
Commissioner Barger, Commissioner Overton,
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Butler,
No.
Commissioner Biggs, Commissioner Daly, Commissioner Gill,
No.
Commissioner Midas, Commissioner Adams,
No.
Commissioner Huber.
Yes.
That is 9 yes, 4 no.
Thank you, sir. Motion passes.
And on the last motion, is that where we would say something about the adhering to the 2 units an acre on the front? Okay.
If you want to make that a condition number 4 in there.
So, and I'll make a motion to approve the development plan for up to 127 single-family houses and 132 attached houses on individual lots, subject to 4 conditions. The 4th condition being that the density on the portion zoned PR2 does not exceed the allowable density.
Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the development plan with an additional condition of number 4, the 3 listed in the staff report.
Maybe I
as
should add that there's a clarification that may impact the 127 and the 132.
We talked about that, but it reads up to, our opinion about that, it reads up to 127, up to 132, and there is still additional density that could be developed on the back parcel. So we feel like that was addressed. So I think you're good on your condition number 4. So we have a motion and a second to approve the development plan with 4 conditions. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Okay, give me one more roll call, please.
Commissioner Browning,
Aye.
Commissioner Levinson, Commissioner Boyer,
Aye.
Commissioner Barger, Commissioner Overton,
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Butler,
No.
Commissioner Biggs, Commissioner Daly, Commissioner Gill,
No.
Commissioner Midas, Commissioner Adams, Commissioner Huber.
Yes.
That is 9 to 4.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, thank you all for your time and your service. Thank you.
Okay, the next item we will have was pulled off the consent list. It is, oh, perfect. It is A Step Towards Home. The applicant is Melody Evans. It is for attached and detached units in a residential subdivision. Is Ms. Evans here? The applicant, Melody Evans? Are you representing the applicant?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Lee Ellis, 4745 Solomon Drive.
Very good. And is there, I know there has got to be one in opposition. He pulled it off consent. If you, would you like to, Lee, would you like to speak now, or would you like to defer to the opposition?
I would defer.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you. And state your name and address for the record, please.
Gregory Nichols, 9358 Tipple Drive. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just so everybody's on the same page, A Step Toward Home, it's like a halfway house, most of them drug offenses, as I understand. There's already on that property like 7 individuals, I've been told, who are drug offenders who are in the halfway house program, and 3 more supervisors. And they want to add more to this. It would really change the character of our community, even more than it already has. And I really think what's there is enough. I mean, we're doing our fair share to these type programs. it would congest the roads more. There's a public park right there with children. And there have been reports of these guys fighting in the park. There's a report that an individual has come on record saying there was drug use in the facility. And so I'm asking for a postponement because I don't have an affidavit or Sheriff's Department records. Supposedly the Sheriff's Department was called and went up there. If they're running what they already have, as has been reported to me, it shouldn't be extended for more people to be there. And I mean, and even if they are running a very good program, 7 individuals is enough. So I'm asking for a postponement because I have witnesses that couldn't be here. One of them's out of town. So I'd like a postponement, please.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Nichols. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. And the applicant, I'm sorry, is your first name Lee or last name Lee?
My first name's Lee.
Okay, what was your last name?
Ellis, yes, sir.
Ellis, I'm sorry. Yeah, Mr. Ellis, if you'd like to speak, before you do that, this is a little bit unusual because this was on consent because it was considered non-controversial until, Mr. Nichols reached out. But I just want to let everybody know, I mean, it is for 2 motions. It's for a concept plan and then a development plan. Staff's recommendation is to approve the concept plan subject to 6 conditions and as well to approve the request for 4 duplexes as shown in the development plan subject to 2 conditions. So if you want to speak to your application.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for being here. I think it's important to start with sharing my experience with this type of program. 16 years ago, I was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and I was homeless. I've stayed here below this floor at the basement level for a month several years ago. On April 24th, 2009 in Maloneyville, I woke up in jail, and the Lord got a hold of me then, delivered me from drugs and alcohol completely. So I haven't touched either one since. I've been through programs. I've been through all these different things. Some work, some don't. It really depends on the individual. So we're partnered with our ministry partner, the Lazarus Project. We're the housing providers. We're not the service providers. However, we're in the business of helping people. It's not all about profit for us. Because of my experience, I have a vested interest in seeing these men succeed. From a character standpoint, I would not be involved with a program that I can't stand behind. So I would caution anyone from standing up here or before anybody and making unsubstantiated remarks and suggestions. I do know, and I stay in contact with this program and the directors. If there was anything like that, it would be dealt with very swiftly.
Understand. And I,
As it pertains to this, I apologize.
no, it's okay. I guess I just wanted to kind of rein it in a little bit. For what we are actually reviewing is not necessarily the use of what your program is. Sounds like a wonderful program, and it's very needed for sure. But what this body is tasked with is really reviewing, is it an appropriate place for 9 lots, 4 of those lots being duplex lots, and then the other 5 being single-family individual lots. So just wanted to kind of dial that in.
Sure. Yeah.
That's really what we're tasked to do. And again, staff is recommending, they do feel like it is appropriate in that area for them. There was some, nice renderings turned in. It looked like you're trying to work with the topography where you'll have a duplex unit, but it's a stacked unit, if you will. One upstairs and one in the basement. Can you speak to that?
That rendering right there, sir, is it's outdated. We had a revised one that apparently was lost in communication. We'll be happy to submit that again. But yeah, we absolutely want to enhance the community. We want to stay in tune. Nothing's out of place, in my opinion, as far as the design of any of these locations or these designs, these houses. As far as the density or what we're trying to achieve, There's an extreme shortage in Knox County, Knox City, I mean, throughout this country of affordable housing. Regardless of the use of this, whether it is in accordance with our plans as it stands now with the Step Towards Home, or if we want to have an exit strategy as well, if anything were to ever happen with our partnership, that we could turn and we could utilize these homes to create inventory. So I see nothing wrong with what we're proposing. And I think that's all I have to say about that.
Understood. So you've read all the 6 conditions on the concept plan, and
Yes,
you're
sir.
comfortable with those, and the 2 conditions on the development plan as well?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right, I would kick it over to commission and see if anyone has any comments or questions. Commissioner Overton.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, with the understanding that we're talking about the concept plan, which in my opinion fits within the character and the design standards that we have, I do want to say that some people could really remember the term "there but for the grace of God go I." If you've never known somebody with addiction issues, then it's sometimes, I guess, hard to have empathy for people, but I think it's unfortunate the attitude towards trying to put roofs over people's heads, just in general, whether they are a drug user or not. I think everyone deserves the dignity of a roof over their head. Anyway. But that aside, this does meet the actual standards we're talking about today, and so I'd like to make a motion to approve the concept plan subject to the 6 conditions in staff's report.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Overton and a second by Commissioner Anderson. Sorry, I just heard it over here. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the concept plan subject to 6 conditions. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it.
Thank you all very much.
Got one more, sir.
Oh, well, I apologize.
That's okay.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion to approve the request for 4 duplexes as shown in the development plan, subject to the 2 conditions listed in staff's report.
Got a motion and a second by Commissioner Overton and Vice Chair Levinson. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it.
Thank you all.
Thank you and good luck. Thank you for what you do. Okay, we are now on to item number 24, because 22 got put on consent, correct? Item number 24, the applicant is Lee Birch. The property is on West Vine Avenue in downtown Knoxville. The request is to change the zoning from DKG Grid District to DKB Boulevard District. Is the applicant present?
Here on behalf of the applicant.
Okay. Yeah, state your name and address, please.
Taylor Forrester, 1111 North Shore Drive, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37919.
I believe there is opposition standing behind you. Would you like to defer, or would you like to go ahead?
I would like to proceed.
Okay, very good.
Again, Taylor Forrester here on behalf of the applicant property owner, Lee Birch, requesting a rezoning from the current DKG Grid District zoning to the DKB Boulevard District zoning. There's one principal distinction between these 2 zoning sub-districts is under the DKG district, no residential use is allowed on the ground floor street level across the entirety of the street level. The Boulevard District would allow for the use of residential uses there on the ground floor. Boulevard District does not prohibit or preclude the use of a commercial, whether it's a business or office base on the ground floor. It just allows simply that residential is permitted under that district. In looking at the DKG district and the standards, is what somewhat a little confusing as to how this property or why it got designated as DKG during recode when you look at those standards as it contemplating a grid district, a 300 by 300 block, kind of a standard perfectly square block. Here, the DKG district's not appropriate on this site when you consider its location, the topography, the irregular lot shape, as well as the existing uses on West Vine Avenue. The staff report references commercial uses in proximity or nearby the property, specifically to the east. Well, the east would be South Gay Street. Now, this area of South Gay Street is, littered with commercial uses, office uses up and down in either direction, north or south. Whereas West Vine is pretty much primarily been developed as a residential development. This property is located about 300 feet from this corner at South Gay Street. The most significant factor related to this 300 feet distance is from South Gay up to this property, there's a grade elevation change of about 40 feet. So that is a 300-foot walk, consistently climbing over a grade elevation change by 40 feet. Again, this location or West Vine Avenue is a one-way street, essentially kind of a glorified alley. It's impractical to think that commercial uses could be viable in this location. If they could be, the property owner, commercial rent, monthly rent is a lot more valuable than residential rent. So, of course, if commercial use was viable here, that the property owner would prefer to have that. However, with this location and the topography, it simply is not. Again, the irregular lot shape, we've got about 500 feet of frontage across West Vine Avenue. So when you consider not being able to have residential across 500 feet and that have to come back with a commercial office type use, think of how many different commercial businesses, offices you would have to have stacked across there. Anywhere from 6 to 7 to 8 individual bays of commercial use, whether restaurant, office, retail store. It's simply not feasible or realistic. The staff report refers to the Lone Tree Pass and as being in proximity as evidence of mixed use in the area. That property is completely distinct from the subject property. The Lone Tree Pass development is at the corner of West Summit Hill and South Gay Street. That property is at a lighted intersection, 4-lane of travel on West Summit. There's crosswalks, at each intersection point or each crossway park. There's commercial businesses north, south, along that commercial corridor of South Gay Street in either direction that you go. So comparing that as a mixed use in the area is kind of out of context when you consider that property's location. I think everybody that if you ever had to review and apply and with the DK sub-districts probably would agree that they should be amended. Again, that's not before you today, but their lack of flexibility and putting each property into this very tight confined box, again, with no flexibility, makes it very difficult to accomplish development, especially on these lots that have not been developed, and consist of irregular lot shapes. We ask that you approve or recommend the rezoning to DKB on the basis that it satisfies the criteria in the zoning ordinances. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Forrester. The opposition, please. If you could state your name and address for the record.
Charlie Donahue, resident 707 East Scott Avenue in Knoxville. The church I represent is at 414 West Vine. For my part as a pastor of that church, I want to be very clear that any challenges posed in the neighborhood with new developments, particularly of residences, my response to that is welcome to the neighborhood. That's clear. The more families that move in are not problems, they are people. It's wonderful, actually. The two major concerns I have are, the first one is that that tick box at the end of the proposal group, where there's been no discussion at all with any of the businesses and churches and other residences around this project. That's pretty significant, and it's just been remarkably unhelpful. The second is your own experts and staff are recommending to deny it. My hope, and just for the record, is if the plan is approved or changed and approved, it's just my fervent hope that the developer will talk with and let us know how to plan around what's going to be happening. We're going to be neighbors pretty much forever, and not talking to anybody is just simply remarkably unhelpful. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Father Donahue. Mr. Forrester, did you want to, is there somebody else here? Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Is this for or against? Okay. Is there any other opposition out there? Okay, so we have someone over here. We thought we had somebody out there. If you could step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Melissa Mancini. My address is 3847 Marina View Lane, Knoxville 37920. I'm a parishioner at IC, and to be quite honest, I didn't fully understand what was at issue today with the rezoning. We're opposed to it for a myriad of reasons. One, I guess what I would appeal to you today, knowing that the recommendation seems to be to oppose this, is that we oppose it simply for an appeal to the beauty and to what's important for our community. I know that's not the lynch point of what you're looking at today. However, anything that gets built there will eviscerate the facade of a historic building here in town, rather than preserving and highlighting the beauty that we have. But the other point to the redistricting issue is that if we are continuing to build all of this residential space, there is going to be a need for more commercial. And so I just don't think that the argument today that there's not a viability is supported. The more families you bring in, the more commerce you're going to need. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Mancini. Okay, now, Mr. Forrester, did you want to? Mr. Coker? 4? Yes. Sorry, I forgot about it, too. Thank you, sir. Name and address for the record.
Yes, Jack Coker, 2407 Coker Avenue. Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, it is an honor to speak before you today on behalf of Yes Knoxville. First, I want to thank you for your stewardship of Knoxville's land and for your recent efforts to restore and strengthen our urban core. Before addressing the Vine Avenue project specifically, I would like to emphasize that Yes Knoxville is a strong proponent of vertical mixed use, especially downtown. No other form is as effective at increasing tax revenues and fostering genuine community. However, when viewed through both a historical and financial lens, Vine Avenue calls for a different approach. Even 100 years ago, when downtown was Knoxville's primary commercial corridor and our citizenry commuted by foot or streetcar, Vine Avenue remained a residential street. The topography of this area makes it extraordinarily difficult to generate the level of foot traffic necessary to sustain commercial uses. By approving this rezone, we can meaningfully increase the residential density of our urban core, strengthening the existing businesses and creating the conditions to attract new ones. So while we share and support the sentiment behind planning's recommendation to deny the rezone, we ask that we not let perfection be the enemy of good. So yes, Knoxville supports this rezone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coker.
I was just going to say I'll meet with Mr. Donahue after and get his information and pass it along to my clients. So for any development going forward, they can connect and discuss and coordinate.
That'd be very helpful. Thank you. Sir, did you have a comment? Your name and address for the record.
My name is Gerald O'Farrell, and my address is 7702 Mills Way, Knoxville 37909. And I'm a parishioner at Immaculate Conception Church, and the concern that I have about the proposed development is primarily about auto traffic and parking spaces available. The neighborhood, right, Vine, is It's narrow street, and its at present configuration has been kind of a one-way loop around. And we have 2 major units already in construction. They're going to bring many more residents. And the residential part, as our pastor, Father Charlie Donahue, said, we welcome the people. We're glad to have them there. But people also bring cars. And I'm thinking, is this going to be a safe and accessible area, neighborhood for our downtown area? And I really question that. And so I hope that whatever plans proceed, that this will be taken in consideration.
Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you.
I think, it's important for everyone to understand, in the Immaculate Conception family out there, that this property is already zoned downtown Knoxville grid district, DKG, which allows the building of large apartment buildings there. The only real difference between it is there a requirement there for there to be, commercial on that main level, or is it? I mean, I know there's a few small variations inside there, but so it's already there, ready to be built. It's just a question. It's a request from the owner to have the flexibility to build the residential on the main level. Now, it does not preclude that they can build, the commercial on the main level if the market so chooses. They just want the flexibility to do the other. Commissioner Adams.
I've got a couple of questions. This is for staff because we've talked about the main differences in the DKG, which it is currently zoned, and DKB, which is being requested as the residential allowance on the ground floor. But I want to say that during agenda review, you also mentioned that there's the distance wall. Do you know what I'm talking about? If you could answer that, and then also how the transparency is also handled between those 2 different districts, not districts, but zones.
Thank you. Yes, so some of the dimensional and design distinctions that were covered at agenda review, DKG requires more building transparency overall, though on the first floor it is the same in both districts. DKG requires building entries every 50 feet, whereas DKB has no frequency requirement. DKB has a bigger allowance for blank walls. It's capped at 35 linear feet versus a maximum of 20 linear feet in DKG. And then in terms of the dimensional standards, DKG has a build-to zone, so that's how close it has to be built to the sidewalk, of 0 to 5 feet, whereas DKB has the biggest build-to zone range, which is up to 25 feet setback from the street lot line.
That's helpful. This is stuff that can come into play heavily based upon what actually gets built there. So, but we have to consider it now because anything could be built inside these components. So the 35 versus 20 in terms of the disturbed wall, if I got that correct. Yeah, if you haven't been to this property or you're not familiar with it, please take note because that is a very long piece of property that goes along Vine. So I think that's one reason that this 35 versus 20 is something to think about. And the other, the 25-foot setback, that you said that is allowed with DKB and not with DKG.
The build-to zone is 0 to 5 feet in DKG, and it's 0 to 25 feet in DKB.
Okay, and so that would, this is a question, that would allow for some kind of public space there if they chose to not build all the way up to the sidewalk. With the 25-foot distance, then there's some additional space there for pedestrian movement, for people being in that space rather than it being the building. right there.
Having it be public would not be a requirement.
Right, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, is it to be in keeping with the boulevard? Right. On the road? An allowance for more room. Allowance for more room.
Right, I'm just trying to kind of visualize what the options are in both of these, and so it's not that one is all good, one is all bad. Like it's kind of a mixed opportunity in terms of what can be done on that vine. And Mr. Forrester talked about how incredibly steep that road is. Absolutely true, and very narrow. So all of those things I really think play into this, plus that changing dynamic with Lone Pass coming into completion, and then historical components like the church that are there. One other question, and this is for anyone who can answer this because it's about the 100 block. Does anyone know if the Sturkey building actually has residential on the ground floor still?
They do.
Okay.
It's, the first floor and the second floor, I think, are owned. So what they did was, and when I talk, I'm not going to interrupt you, but I lived at Sturkey during the transition from all rental to then condos. And so Lee Birch kept the first floor and the second floor as his own, and he Airbnbs them. So people sleep there, I guess. But they were residential up until that point, which was maybe 6 years ago-ish. And then this, when I lived there, was the parking lot for Sturkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I asked that question because of the articulation from a few different folks that just because it starts as residential doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. And I was living on the 100 block when Sturkey first came to be, so it's been over 20 years now, so it's stayed residential. I think if we make that choice, it's just something that we need to not think, oh, it'll change like a light switch. Like people can get adjusted to that, or whether it's economically they get adjusted to that in the formula, or as a community they get adjusted to that in the formula. It doesn't necessarily change very quickly. Those are just some of the questions and things I wanted to bring up. I want to listen to everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Commissioner Barger.
Thank you. Looking at the zoning that surrounds this, I understand that DKG next door to the east, or to the west, I'm sorry, was rezoned after recode, Dallas? Is that what you told me, or before recode? Built. Regardless, those are residential on the first floor. And I know from personal experience, I used to own a flower shop, and I used to have to deliver to the church right there, which is a beautiful church, but driving up that hill with fresh flowers in the back of my car was awful, and I can't imagine having to walk up it. Surely that's a no. And I've gotten caught on vine several times on accident, trying to go the wrong direction, so commercial just does not seem like it is a good fit for this area. So in my opinion, and it might be too early for a motion, but I would definitely recommend residential on the first floor of that building. So in my opinion, I would like to make a motion to approve the DKB district downtown, because I do think it's consistent with the intent of that specific district.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and multiple seconds. So we'll go, motions for Commissioner Barger and Commissioner Browning on the second. I think we probably ought to continue a little discussion on this while the motion's on the floor. Commissioner Overton, you were next.
Thank you. Yeah, so like I was talking with Commissioner Adams about, I mean, I still live downtown. I've lived downtown now for almost 10 years. So I lived at Sturkey for, I think, about 4 years. And so I lived there when Lee sold Tim Hill the property. What Tim is developing used to be the Sturkey parking lot, and then they moved it up this hill. And so let me tell you about walking up that hill every day. It was like, I should have been in the Olympics. But aside from that, there's no other real pedestrian or traffic flow to this area of the city. It's basically sequestered off. So pedestrian-wise, other than Vine, you'd have to walk across Summit Hill, up Walnut, past the church, and then that number 4 across from the church is like a weird, like, eagle building. It's not very inviting. I'm not trying to, be mean to whoever, goes in there, but I've never seen anybody go in there. And then you've got those row of townhouses that are first floor residential. You've got the tower, which is first floor residential, and now they're building the big apartment complex, which to my understanding is in DKB, so would be first floor residential is fine. So all that being said, the only other options pedestrian-wise to get there really are if you're at Balter Beer Works and you go up that rickety metal staircase up to the overflow parking lot. My dog loves it, it's horrible. And then there's a staircase in front of LMU if you were walking down Western and Henley Street, which I wouldn't recommend that either. But when you're on the sidewalk, you're looking up these hills, so there's nothing as a pedestrian, if you don't live downtown, inviting you to keep walking that way. And so it's just not natural that you would walk up that hill. Vehicle-wise, Vine's a one-way, like people have said, and so really the only other way to get to this area is to take a left onto Walnut, cutting in between the church. Well, that spits you out on the one-way, and you gotta hang a left. And this property, as you can see, is right there, so there's nothing vehicle-wise where you're gonna be invited to go, park and do anything commercial there. So I'm in favor of mixed use downtown. I think by and large, we need to move that direction, but I think this is a very sequestered, just based on the topography, little sequestered area of downtown. It's very sleepy, it's very quiet, it's very residential. I agree with you, Commissioner Adams. I don't think that it's like you can say things will never change, but I don't see how this would ever change. And I don't necessarily think that it has to, and I think that imposing a requirement that there be a lot of commercial on a first floor is just not good for downtown if it's probably ultimately just going to be empty. I think that space is better used for residential or frankly like a parking garage because we need to go vertical parking, not surface level. So all that being said, I support Commissioner Barger's motion. I just wanted to, as somebody who walked this every single day and still walks it at least 2 or 3 times a week, depending on where my dog wants to go, I just feel like that perspective is important for understanding kind of like the flow of downtown and what's feasible. And I just don't think this is realistic for commercial.
Thank you, Commissioner Overton. Commissioner Anderson.
I don't think that there's really much I need to say that hasn't already been said, but I want to just bring back the point that Chair Huber made at agenda about, more like a special use or flexibility, because when you really dive down into the available downtown districts, there's not really one that fits. And I don't know, if this is calling it a DKB versus DKG and saying here that we can't do DKB because it's intended for a boulevard, but there's a parcel down the street that's zoned DKB. I don't know. I guess that's a discussion for another day, but it seems like at some point we do need to flesh out how we want to deal with situations on unique downtown properties.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. And Commissioner Biggs, you're next, but I'm going to interject just a comment in general. I'm with, understand what Mr. Forster was talking about. I'm not sure how it got zoned DKG in the first place. I guess as I read the zone, I pulled it up, in preparation for the meeting and read all of it again just to refresh myself. So the DKG Downtown Grid District is intended to accommodate those areas of downtown predominantly characterized by the traditional 300 by 300 grid pattern in the city of Knoxville, in the center of town. Now, if you're down on Church Street, Walnut, Locust, those are very grid, that's very downtown. You can get to them from all 4 sides of that block. Juxtaposed to this, as was stated, there's 40 or 50 feet of elevation difference between where we are in the front of it and where Jackson Avenue is behind it. So it almost just doesn't seem to fit. It seems like it should have been DKB from the beginning. I'm not sure how we got to DKG in the first place. So it's just kind of a comment there. But Commissioner Biggs.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this one. I think I'd want to echo Commissioner Anderson's point that I yearn for more flexibility kind of with the downtown zoning districts. I agree. I'm very familiar with Vine Avenue. It's not a likely candidate for successful commercial like today. I wish you could say, hey, 20% of the building facade needs to be commercial, and maybe it's a coffee shop on one end and something that could serve the local residents who live up there, and those local residents are increasing with the projects we just mentioned. I do think it's unrealistic and kind of unfairly punitive to require the entire ground floor to be commercial given conditions today, and do think it would hinder development downtown. But at the same time, I also, I made this argument when we were rezoning on State Street. I think it's hard to say that an area will never change, and especially if you never give it the kind of ability and permission to change in the future, then it's not going to. So I think for this one, I would support DKB just because I do think it needs to be developed, but I feel like we're having to choose between opposite ends of a spectrum, and I think there needs to be room for more conversation in the middle there. And I don't know how to initiate that, but I guess it's a request for staff to think about how we can have that conversation in the future.
Thank you, Commissioner Biggs. Commissioner Gill.
Yes, thank you. And I'm going to mirror a little bit what Commissioner Biggs said. I would also like to see more flexibility because there's some really good points that have been made here, although I will offer a bit of a counterpoint. I'm falling towards the other extreme here, I think, a little bit, is that, we have often thought of downtown as a destination for a long time. It's a place where people come to do commercial, and how do we access this road to come to it? And I think that that's part of the transition that I am trying to think through. Is pedestrian-oriented architecture is not about inviting people who don't live there to be there. It's about providing spaces for commercial and neighborhoods to exist. We have large residential developments that are being built in that exact area. They're going to require services, and to say they need to get in the car to drive to go to a grocery store or to go get their hair cut or go to a convenience store to get a six-pack with their friends on the weekend, that's what makes a continuation of this car-oriented architecture that we're trying to avoid in our in our downtown. What makes the difference between a neighborhood isn't the houses. That's not what makes a residential neighborhood. That's what makes a block of houses. What makes a neighborhood are the businesses and the support services that are there. And if we continuously make the argument that we shouldn't make space for commercial and spaces for places to open up that are not restaurants and bars to trying to serve everybody who's coming in, but actually serve the people who live there so they can come home after work and they don't have to get in their car to go drive to pick something up, that they can walk out their door and visit a business that caters not to people who need to walk all the way up Vine, but the people who already are on Vine because they live in the large developments that are now already there. They can go to church, they can treat that as a neighborhood. And I don't think it's inappropriate to say that we need some spaces as part of Recode that was designated as DKG because we as a community reimagined these areas and what we wanted to see. I would encourage my fellow commissioners to think more than what's happening right now and think about what we're trying to build our downtown to be in the future. And we need to make spaces for neighborhoods to exist, and neighborhoods include haircut facilities and dry cleaners and convenience stores and yoga studios and things that are not on the 100 block of Gay Street, because that's where you want everybody to come to have a good night on Friday. So for me, while I hear my fellow commissioners and I understand that there are some topographical challenges in this particular stretch of road, adding just more dense housing there without regard to what that's going to be as a space once that's there, I don't think is the right approach. I welcome the conversation about how we can provide some flexibility in that space, but absent that, I think that we need to stick with what we imagined in DKG as part of this to begin with, to provide the flexibility we need for the residents who will be moving into the existing developments to have a space to live and work and play.
Thank you, Commissioner Gill. And, interestingly, taking a spin off of exactly what you're talking about is still the flexibility. But that's really kind of what I like about DKB is it still allows the commercial on the main level. It just doesn't force it, And real quick, but, I think a good example still is in the old city, in the old city, there was, some property that was developed 20 plus years ago that was all residential, because you go down there now and everything's commercial on the main level, but that was 20 years ago. The market wasn't ready or it wasn't right in that location, but now it is, and it converted. It by natural, it just, hey, this is what's good down here now, and it's what would be supported. So that's what I like about the DKB. It allows the commercial, but it also allows the residential. Commissioner Butler.
Thank you. I also concur that we are dealing with rezoning request that we really want some of this one and some of that one, and we don't have the appropriate tool to apply to it. So I think that's unfortunate, but I will be voting to support this rezoning simply because some of the facade restrictions and other elements that are in DKB that you know, the 30-foot uninterrupted wall and some of those things, I just find it hard to believe that they'll be able to develop it successfully in a residential manner without having windows and things, you know, on the facade that we want to, that along the street. So I'm less fearful of that because of the way to successfully develop that. I think the topography is a significant challenge and just makes the prospect of commercial at a later time very low prospect. So I will be supporting this.
Thank you, Commissioner Butler. Commissioner Adams.
I'm glad you said that. 'Cause it's comforting to hear that with your professional opinion, you don't think that that would get built out in that way. I know you have a, right, no crystal ball, but you know, you've got a lot of experience in terms of what would make that successful. I heard parking garage, and that worries me. Like all of a sudden having just, you're walking by a bunch of cars, it doesn't make it much better than a surface lot. So, but I'm glad you brought that up. For what Commissioner Gill said, I completely concur about that type of commercial because we've got a lot of bars and restaurants, and I call it commercial of utility. It's those things that you need just to do your daily stuff, which isn't exactly exciting sort of stuff that you don't get in your car and I'm gonna make this special trip to this place, but you need it to be around, and especially you need it to do it on foot and not have to get into a car. And that is absolutely what downtown is about and why so many people like to come there and park and then get out and go have a good time. But this has been a very difficult case for me to consider because of all of these different components in each one of the options. And I would very much like for us to dig into this and come up with some better options. We can't do it for this case, but after this case. So this is a formal request to have that looked at so that we can develop some more tools so we're not in the same boat, because I feel like we've been here at least 3 times since I've been on this body. So it'd be great to have some other flexibility.
You can put that on the list with final plats. Commissioner Overton.
Yeah, thank you real quick. I want to be clear, parking garage is not my vision for the city, but I agree with what Commissioner Gill said. I think the reason I like DKB better is the flexibility for that to become the future. And what comes to mind for me is Red Panda grocery store on Central, which when I first moved into Sturkey, I said, God, I wish that there was a little market I could go to when I forgot butter, when I forgot milk, if I need a 6-pack. And then they built Stockyard Lofts, and I know they're not directly correlated, but timeline-wise, as a resident, it sure seemed like, wow, there was an explosion of the baseball stadium, a big new residential apartment complex, and look, there's like a cute little bodega on, I mean, that's what I call it, but I know it's not technically, but on Central, where you can go get a bacon, egg, and cheese on Sunday morning, and, you know, they have like specialty food, but they have staples, they got frozen food, and if you need a lime, you can go there, and to your point, you can walk there, and it's only 2 blocks away. And so I think those types of businesses follow the residential, just numbers-wise, right? And so I just think like the flexibility of DKB allows that to come in when it's commercially viable, but requiring the developer to not be able to have residential, I think it's equally bad for downtown to have empty buildings, like how, you know, people older than me talk about Market Square being empty back in the day. Like all that was there was the lunchbox. And I think that when you have empty parts of downtown, it breeds, you know, people don't want to go there. And so I think like having people in an area breeds those exact types of businesses that you're talking about that I am a huge supporter of. I would love more of them. And so I want that flexibility and not, you know, in this present moment, if they built a building in 2 years or something, as it stands now, it would likely be empty. In the future, it may not, right? And I agree with that, and I don't want it to be, but having it be empty now doesn't make sense when the zone would allow the flexibility to have commercial in the future once it's commercially viable. And so I just think that as we go forward, there's the balance of the vision versus the practicality.
Commissioner Anderson.
So there, a couple things I keep coming back to, and one of which is that by saying that you don't have to do commercial doesn't mean you can't. And I want to point out that I would say in the vast majority of cases, a property owner or developer is going to make more money leasing space to a commercial tenant. If there were retailers and little, bodegas or whatever you want to call them that were begging to be downtown and thought that they could make enough money to survive, they would be there. But how are you going to force that? By saying that people need that? Okay, maybe they do, but why isn't the business there? Why are we, we're not prohibiting it, but how are we going to force it? We can't subsidize it. Go ahead.
You were 100%, I understand. What I'm making the case for is that this has not come up just here. It comes up every time we have a CG1 conversation about pedestrian architecture, and the argument's made, well, it's a giant road and nobody can walk here now, so why don't we do that? And we're in this situation where we are comparing the two as though they're the same, as though the only difference is whether or not we require, but they're not the same. They have 20-foot differences in setbacks. So if I'm building a residential building with a residential idea and I have a large road that runs in the front for people to do drop-offs because they have to load in and out in their groceries, so I need a cutout so traffic can pull out and not block Vine, and I put a large road right up in the front of that building, that will never be pedestrian activated again. The building is built there, and now we have a side road that has come out that has allowed that. Unless that gets bike laned and it gets changed, we are making decisions now that say that that building, a footprint that potentially could be there for 100 plus or more years, is always going to be oriented to a residential use from the beginning. And that might be appropriate for this lot, which is the argument that's being made. The counterpoint that I'm trying to say is that DKB does not provide the flexibility in the same sense of, well, they could put commercial. Yeah, well, they could, but they're asking to change this because they don't want to right now. They want to put residential, and they're going to build their building to be residential focused. And so, And I guess I'm not arguing that point. I'm just reminding every time one of these comes up, the argument is always, what is there now and why can we make it now? And the whole point of the re-envisioning and the rezoning is, what is it we're going to do in the future? Pedestrian architecture requires a change in the way that we're thinking about things, saying that in the future we don't want to have these spaces be only residential or only car-based and only focused on that. And I'm not saying that DKB can't have commercial placed into it, and I would love some more flexibility, but my major concern is the setback. It is not necessarily the commercial. It's saying that that building now no longer has to be activated on the street. It can be 20 feet off of the street, 25 feet off of the street with any sort of buffer in between it, completely disconnected from the road, and that will be the footprint forevermore. And that's not pedestrian architecture. Now, it could be developed that way in the future, but realistically, we know that that requires the entire building to be torn down and reimagined. So we are committing now to say that we are okay with that potentially never having pedestrian-oriented architecture, and it will forever be a more residential-focused area. And if that might be appropriate on Vine, I'm just bringing up the point that that now precludes these smaller businesses that would have space where people can walk and go, where you trying to get parallel parking is not the point. And if that's not possible, I understand. But I'm just bringing up that it's not the same just for commercial. There are fundamental differences in how the building could be built.
Well, I think that's a fair point. And I would say that there are probably challenges to this lot in general that will dictate how that goes. But you've got two silos we can look at, and that's it.
I'm the one holdout, and so I'm comfortable. We have a motion on the floor, and I understand where you all are at, so I'm not trying to belabor a point. I think that we all have our hearts in the right place, so, even though it's not my motion, I would beg the question, but.
Commissioner Midas.
Thank you. Well, you're not the only holdout, Commissioner Gill. This is a tough one, but when 2007 came up and they rezoned all this, I know at that point they thought commercial was not possible on this property, and now it actually is. I think about the McClung warehouses being redeveloped and all of that pedestrian traffic coming up Vine, going to Gay, and I think there's a huge potential for commercial. I also see with that Lone Tree Pass what they're doing there, opening up that corridor, accessing that section of Vine. I can't go back and say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't want to close the door on commercial. And I think Commissioner Gill is completely right in that there's something to be said by these buildings being closer to the street, being able to make for a more pedestrian-friendly environment. And we are going to be changing that forever with this property if we go ahead and rezone it to DKB. So I will be supporting a denial.
Thank you, Commissioner Midas. Commissioner Biggs.
I guess, yeah, last comment. I just want to push back on the notion that like whatever we decide is like what it's going to be forever. I don't know if anyone's ever been to like Newberry Street in Boston. It's like the premier like retail street. Used to be like residential brownstones. Like now they converted it to commercial because that's what's needed. It's gorgeous. It's walkable. It's like super fun. And you know, that can happen. So you can have residential conversion to commercial in the future, vice versa. So I guess I would just push back a little bit on the finality of this decision and suggest that I think future market forces can help dictate end uses here.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Biggs. And just a comment before I get to you, Commissioner Adams. Really, Commissioner Gill, I mean, with respect to that, I do think that the topography is probably going to dictate where that particular building is going to be located. I am all in on the long view for Knoxville and the county. I really am. But this is a practical thing. I remember I developed a commercial center, and we only had like a 5-foot sidewalk in front of it in this particular one. And goodness, I can't tell you how many times I've had requests from the commercial tenants that want to start putting tables outside and things like that. And I'm like, that's awesome, but we only have 5 feet, So, I mean, if this was 20 feet back off the road, I just see it more as an opportunity for the commercial to come in and maybe to be able to create, a nice atmosphere with some tables. And, if you are serving, smoothies or whatever it is, it's a nice gathering area versus, just being restricted to that. But just a comment. Commissioner Adams.
Yeah, you touched on one of the things I wanted to speak on. I'll first say that to Commissioner Anderson's point that if it was going to be commercial, like they'd make more money, et cetera, and they would do it, that was one of the reasons I brought up the Sturkey example, because that has not yielded that. And absolutely 100 block of Gay Street can support commercial. And that has not been a choice that particular development has made. So just, I want to push back on that. However, I very much agree with what you said, Chairman, because the opportunity to have a gathering space, like an outside gathering space, does activate the sidewalk in a pedestrian-oriented way, in a human-oriented way with that setback. And I bring that up because of what we see happening in certain areas of Cumberland and in certain areas of South Knoxville, where we've got different setbacks and how we're seeing communities respond to that. So I'm not crushed by that 25-foot opportunity there with the DKB. I do see how it could play out in a way that actually invites people to go there, to walk up the sidewalk. Hey, there's a great place we can just sit and have a picnic together in this space, even though it's a residential thing for other folks.
Well, very good. We had a lot of great discussion on this one, but we do have a motion by Commissioner Barger and a second by Commissioner Browning to approve from DKG to DKB. Are there any other comments? Commissioner Barger, would you mind adding? There's a portion of it.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that the HP, hillside protection overlay, will be retained.
Just add that to the motion. The hillside will be retained.
Very good. And you got the second? All right, very good. Now we have a slightly amended motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Those opposed? We have 2 noes. Commissioner Midas and Commissioner Gill. Motion passes. Thank you. And yes, we're going to take a break, but Mr. Forrester, if you could encourage your client to get with Father Donahue, please. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back. All right, I believe we only have a couple more today. The next application we'll be looking at is item number 26. It was pulled off of the consent agenda. Let's see here. It is for a request going from agricultural to RN1, single-family residential. Is the applicant present?
Yes, my name is Muhammad Ragab. The address is 1721 Polk Wright Lane, Knoxville, 37919.
Thank you, Mr. Ragab. And is there opposition? I believe we have Owen Gwynn. Gwynn? Very good. Did you want to defer to the opposition? Okay. If Mr. Gwynn, if you could step to the podium and list your name and address, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Owen Gwynn. I live at 6111 Creekhead Drive. My property borders the gentleman that's wanting to have it rezoned. I'm against the rezoning because it doesn't need to be rezoned. To give you a little bit of background, I have got, is that my property? It's not my property, is it? Yeah. So you can see my driveway right there is about 700 feet. And this gentleman has come before County Commission twice to have the variance changed down at the bottom, real close to the bottom of my driveway. He wants to build a garage that will completely encroach over onto my property. This gentleman bought this house down there, and he remodeled it. And he didn't get a permit, so County Commission asked him, or told him to stop, work on it. He didn't stop. So then he proceeded to cut trees off my property and vegetation off my property. So we're not following the rules here at all. This matter could be simply solved by him building his garage on the other side, on the east end of his house where he has got property. But if it's built on the west side, which would be where my driveway is, it would be virtually impossible for me to get any type of wide load up my driveway if I ever wanted to build something up there. It just doesn't need to be done. I see no reason for it. We have got a situation, we got a real nice neighborhood in the Creekhead area, and everybody has got a nice house. It's above a working class neighborhood by far. But this gentleman's got 3 cars that have been in his driveway now for 4 months. One of them's had a head-on collision, the other one doesn't run, the other one doesn't run. He's got a big container there that it hasn't been moved. So I would ask, I don't think it needs to be rezoned. I think it just he needs to build his garage on the other side of his house. Like I said, and there is plenty of room over there. That's about all I've got to say. Thank you very much. I know you guys have got a real hard job, and I can't imagine how stressful it is, but just weigh the facts and do what's right here.
Thank you, Mr. Gwynn.
Yes.
And just a point of clarification, this is in the city of Knoxville, not
It's in the city.
Yeah, you had mentioned
And
city
I don't have
or county commission.
you know, taking it from ag to RN1, I don't have a problem with that because we got houses on our street. It's just that it's going to encroach on my property. We've been there 31, 32 years, so I would like to keep it private like it is.
Understood. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Sir. And did you have a comment, sir? Or yeah, I do. If you want to step to the podium and list your name and address for the record.
My name is Michael Mills. I live at 6113 Creekhead Drive. If you go 2 doors down, it's right there. This drawing that you have on the map does not show the actual what the houses actually look like right now. That's an old image of what the house looks like. The house has been added on about 20 feet already, or 15 or 20 feet to the, if you're looking at his house to the right. So if you look where the driveway is, there's already a section that was added on. That section that was added on was never permitted, the foundation was never looked at. The building codes, it was never a permit pulled for that. The city came out and asked him to stop work order before he even had the trusses up. And then all of a sudden, he decided he's going to go ahead and put the trusses up and put everything else up. I'm a general contractor here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've been a contractor now for about 13 years. I've worked with everybody. And we've asked 3 or 4 times. Nothing's getting inspected. Nothing's getting looked at. The other side of the house, he has plenty of room. He can easily build it on the other side, which I have an issue with too, but that's my own personal issue. It doesn't have anything to do with council. But yeah, so not only that, we've asked them 3 or 4 times to move the vans and move the stuff out of the front of the yard, and they've not done it. I've talked to two or three of his employees once before, and none of them speak English, and they wouldn't communicate with me. I sent one of my Hispanic guys over there to talk to him, and they were like, here, call this guy, call this guy. When I called, he answered and then hang up. So that's what I got.
Sure.
So
Thank
just
you,
let you guys know.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Mills. And just to clarify, and I appreciate all, what you're saying, this is really just about a rezoning. It's not about codes. It's not about a permit or what's being done or not being done. I just wanted you to understand.
No, I
this-
totally understand that, but
Yeah.
but part of the problem is he hasn't followed the rules to now.
Right.
Now he
And-
wants to rezone it,
well,
and
that's
so
fine.
he can get by the rules.
And that's where you just need to contact codes, and that's a whole separate department. They'll handle that. But we only have purview only over the rezoning.
Yeah, I've called the contractor board, and I've already put in a official appointment with the contractor board.
Very good.
So we'll go from there.
That's fine. Very good. Again, if you could step to the podium, Mr. Gwynn.
If it's rezoned, that setback changes though, doesn't it?
It does.
To 8 foot rather than 35 like it is now.
I believe staff can,
So that
it's 8 feet for a 1-story and 10 or 12 for a 2-story. Is that right? Staff, anybody?
Not for the city. It's 8 feet on one side minimum and 20 feet combined.
Okay.
So it'd be on the 8 foot side of me. That will put him completely over on my drive.
Okay, yeah, well, he'd be 8 feet off of it, so, yeah, off his lot line. So
Yeah.
wherever his lot line is, he has to stay a minimum of 8 feet off of that. But, thank you. Okay. Commission have any questions? Yes, the applicant, would you like to speak now, please?
I just want to mention one last thing. This is 0.69 acres, and it does not qualify to be an agriculture, and I'm asking it to change into our RN1 as it's being used as a residential right now. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe you're referring to the minimum 5-acre size in agricultural for a single family. Okay, and that was mentioned in the staff report. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. I'm sorry. Oh, no, go ahead, Ross. Go ahead.
Motion to approve the RN1 district because it is consistent with the sector plan and surrounding development per staff's recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Biggs and seconded by Commissioner Midas to approve because it is consistent with the sector plan and surrounding development. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. All right, this is the last one. Okay, this will be our last one today. This is agenda item number 32. Applicant is Jesse Alarcon. This is a rezoning request from RN1 to RN5. Staff recommendation is to deny the RN5 zoning because it conflicts with the intended use, or the mixed-use sub-district NC11 mixed-use special district in SCIP small area plan, and could disrupt established transition in land use intensity. Is the applicant present? If you,
Yes.
Yes. Is there any opposition to the file? Or in support of? Other than the applicant? Nope. Okay, you can go ahead and tell us about your application.
I got you. So when I initially submitted the application, I planned for 3 units on each lot. After reviewing the staff comments and dimensional standards for the RN5 district, 3 units would require in townhouse or multifamily orientation would need 60-foot road frontage per lot and would not work. So I've instead altered my plan to do duplexes on these lots instead. For the RN5 district, I would need 5,000 square foot for a 2-family dwelling, and for RN4, I would need 7,000 square feet. I would instead like to request an RN4 zoning where the duplexes would meet all the dimensional standards of the zoning and fit in with the transitional plan of the area.
Well, could staff opine? I'm not sure who reviewed this. Jesse, did you?
Kelsey reviewed this, but she wasn't able to be here. We would need time to evaluate a revised request.
Right, right. Would you be open to a 30-day postponement to be able to take a look at that?
Would it be possible to get that done today at all, or no?
It's up to you. I mean, the request you've made is for RN5. Yeah. Right, right. We would have to talk about it through the commission if we wanted to consider RN4. I see Commissioner Adams has her light on.
Yeah, I have 2 things. And it's actually made maybe more important with the request to go to RN4, just to allow staff time to be able to work on this, but also, have you spoken with the community yet about the project?
I don't believe so, no.
The form here said that there would be some conversation that happened before this meeting. So if we could do a 30-day postponement, that would allow you to speak to the community and also allow for staff to look at the RN4 idea. So it seems like it could be a good thing. If there's open to it, I'll make a motion for postponement for 30 days.
Second, yeah.
That's what we needed. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Commissioner Adams and Commissioner Levinson on the second to postpone for 30 days. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, sorry, we'll have to take a harder look at it, and you can come back next month.
Okay.
Thank you. I believe that's it. 4:16, it's not too bad, but we are adjourned. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, sir. What do we got? Item number 25. Item number 25. That was withdrawn.
No, that was with David Presley.
Yeah, it was withdrawn. Applicant withdrew.
Yeah, at the beginning of the meeting, the applicant actually withdrew the application. So you don't have to worry about it. He'll have to come back through and file another application. Thank you. So we are adjourned. Thanks.
It was